people were starting to ban it a little bit. They're lining up blue side maybe for a strong matchup. We'll have to see what they choose to go for, because you can't always, after you lock it in, choose between split push, AD, press the attack cannon, or team fight, AP, phase rush cannon.
Oh, I like the AP. The ultimates, flash ultimates, are so much better than just a guy whittling down on you.
I don't know, man. Give me that side lane. Let me stay there all game.
True.
Never talk to my team.
Akali, Morgana, and Swain kind of focused all around the map. Saw a few Akali plays from these guys recently. I believe it was either Tuesday or Insanity that brought one in. I think Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday had a couple one game on it, excuse me.
Right,
and
right.
it was funny because we watched Golden Glue right beforehand, really impressed me. And then Tuesday came out and played. It didn't look.
You gave away all the secrets?
Yeah, I gave away all Golden Glue secrets. And then I saw Tuesday play not doing the same secrets. And then I bumped into Tuesday, who was at the LCS that weekend. And I was like, what happened? He's like, oh, I played Akali one time before that. So clearly still a focus for both teams though as I hit the ban list. And
that's funny because usually when we talk to Afro, he's like, you know, like 20 or so plays. You got to get a lot of plays in. And guys like, yeah, 2. Kindred and Braum on the other side, so Kindred getting locked in. Gragas, a big jungler for both of these, but the Graves is picked up, so no real counter to that Kindred right away for Lamb's Respite, and some good pickups. They do take away Rikara's Xayah, though. They also get the combo of that Lovers duo in bot lane.
Yep, Xayah Rakan, not much of a surprise being taken together, and 100 Thieves answer with the Braum Ezreal, a very safe lane, being able to survive some of the all-in threat that the Xayah Rakan lane can have. And like you said, the Graves into Kindred is interesting because a lot of people there take the Gragas. It's the better team fighty matchup where you can knock people out of the Kindred ultimate. But like we said, Wiggly is a very aggressive player who wants to have tempo in the games, doesn't want to fall behind Kindred's better early game clear. And so, you know, Wiggly would prefer to fight him than have his team, or have him be the team player. And this is what we were saying, where they work well around Wiggly's strategy.
Hasn't been too many Kindred plays in there for Levi, but plays to his style, so shouldn't be too hard. That Kennen for Brandini gets banned out along with Tuesday's Syndra. What is next? Auto on the Varus. Brand Kaisa picks were also up there for him, but we already see Xayah, so what do they fill the top side with? And it's one bans come through.
Yeah, they got the Zoe in there, and it's one of those situations, matched lanes, both bottom laners and junglers being taken, so you start trying to figure out what you want to pinch, and I think they're getting rid of some of the safe blinds out of CLG Academy's mid laner, looking like they're going to prioritize blind picking that one, whereas CLG starts banning out tops because they don't want that counter. So both teams kind of reacting to what they think the other team can get advantages with.
So does this actually look like a 100? Oh, I'll wait for like one more pick before you can answer this. But is this a 100 Thieves composition that Rikara can inflict that? Hey, we're just going to walk over you.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like, even though Brandini, or excuse me, not Brandini, Rikara and Stunt have pretty good numbers and they look well, it's usually not like the team's playing around them too much. And it's a lot of Levi running around the map, finding advantages where he can often.
That's true.
Around the top.
Levi's usually super busy.
Yeah, so that you don't expect to get as much help as you might get. And Braum and Ezreal, very stable lane.
Yeah. Feel free to not come by. It'd be nice to be down there and just farm it out, play safe with Braum and Ez, and now they have a Cho'Gath on the top to go against Mundo, so we're going to have tanks on an island for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think what CLG is going for here is with the Graves and the Xayah, they're feeling like, and the Rakan, of course, they feel like they have a really good backline threat with double marksman already, and so they want to get some frontline in there. Obviously, Rakan's a little bit squishier of a frontliner, so after the Mundo's taken away, they grab the Cho'Gath for themselves, and yes, the Orianna to help those double marksmen get in, set them up for these big engages. Graves and Xayah have a lot of damage that they can throw in from pretty safe distances, and CLG have a very strong team fight comp right now.
Tuesday actually having quite a few picks this year, that Ori being one of them. I like that composition quite a bit. The ball delivery, the damage from behind with collateral, as well as a good amount of knock-up and crowd control. They brought everything to the table, and with a little point-and-click crowd control, 100 Thieves Academy also has one heck of a fight composition for themselves.
Yeah, very, very similar team comps. Tanks in the top lane, marksman in the jungle, control mages mid, standard bot lanes. So, you know, this is one of those games where whoever gets ahead early and maintains control of the game is probably going to have the advantage because there's not significant scaling advantages on either side.
30 seconds left as the teams discuss with their coaches what's the initial start to the game. Do we get the bot lane going? Do we make sure Fallen Bandit's strong? so he can shut down Brandini. A lot of the times we will see that gank on a Mundo just pre-6. Try to get a hit on that. Brandini's been very good at absorbing those and making his way away from the turret. That doesn't mean you don't lose topside pressure, so we'll have to see how everything is played out. We are starting our second day of quarterfinals here for the North American Academy League Summer Split Playoffs.
And see Matthew Perez, CLG coach, waiting there for Joseph Jang. There's the handshake as we get into the second quarterfinal matchup. CLG, the third place team.
So ready. And looking to go on and face Cloud9 or Team Liquid. Both going to be very tough games, but you already have one here. Possibly 5 games where you got to leave everything on the Rift. Recoup and do it again next week. That's what the playoffs are all about. Getting here was already tough enough. You can see the teams on your screen. Hashtag CLGA win. Hashtag 100A win. We're about to be on to the Rift to see who can actually take that game. We heard a lot from Rikara saying confidence. I've never lost to Counter Logic Gaming, and I'm sure CLG would love to put a stopper on that.
Yeah, this is the last chance this year to pick up some wins versus 100 Thieves, and it'd be really nice to do it in a best of 5. And this is one of the classic kind of stylistic matchups, the team-oriented players against the superior, quote-unquote, mechanical players.
Yeah.
It sounded like both teams in their interviews were also kind of agreeing with that stereotyping of their two teams a little bit.
A little stronger for the fight plays, what's happening with each individual play, but overall CLG able to read the map. Be good for the early game with this team if they can do that, get Fallen Bandit ahead. Oriana's always super strong if she can get any type of early lead.
Rise will be a good lane matchup into it, though, and Linsanity,
yeah, that's true.
Like we were saying, got his mojo back a little bit with the Talon pick.
Yeah.
And he used the Smite advantage to be able to roam the map, and he started working really well around playing to his bot side with these kind of more global picks, and then he kind of continued that transition onto the Rise, started picking that up a little bit more after the Talon got nerfed, and it uses a similar idea of trying to get into side lanes with the ultimate and influence those, and he had some good games, so I expect him to try and do a similar thing here, either working up to the bot or top side, post 6.
See how crafty they can get with the Realm Warps. Make his way around the map. And we're off. CSing has begun.
The greatest.
The greatest. I actually really like watching different Ori players play, where they leave the ball, how they move it, if they're using dissonance, that's the W, when they move it, because that's actually a very large chunk of mana in the early game. So it's, if you use it too much, hard to keep your lane. Always fun to watch. Here, Wiggly, a little bit of pressure towards the bot side, but getting help from Phil as he's made his way to that inside line of a stun.
Yeah, going for the first Scuttle Crab here. I guess wanting to try and match up with Levi.
Ooh, got him.
Yeah, trying to deny these Scuttle Crab marks, I'm pretty sure is what he's doing with this kind of tracking path.
Good back and forth. Tuesday's going to eat that damage, but he knows he can stay topside with Wiggly. That means he denies, as you said, that next mark for Kindred, and it becomes a little bit harder for Levi, also shutting down a very aggressive play he would love to use early.
And this is kind of the play style that we're talking about with CLG being well coordinated. Phil with the sweeper level 1 went out and cleared the ward so Wiggly could drop into the river without it being known where he was going. And it's a bit of a mind game where the Kindred is going to go, because most junglers do start red buffs and then clear to their blue side jungles. Wiggly makes the adaptation of going red and staying on the bot.
Scuttle.
Yeah, staying on the bot side, expecting Levi to go red and then down there. Levi actually started on the bot side and stayed bot side as well. Both of them trying to mind game each other, and ended up with both of them on the bot side of the map fighting over that Scuttle Crab.
And a nice job to deny Levi a few of his Raptors. You can see somewhere left up on the mini-map icon. And he will head towards the top, just making sure Levi doesn't hover over for a gank onto Fallen Bandit as he is pushed up. I feel like everything is safe, and a great start for Wiggly in Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah, overall, some nice counter jungling. And what's good about this is if you can maintain pressure around the next Scuttle Crab spawn, the Kindred mark always spawns on a Scuttle Crab when you have no bounties.
Right.
So from here on, if Wiggly can coordinate with his side laners, which is something we say he does very well, they can continue to control these Scuttle Crabs and eventually force it. So Kindred will have to get her first mark off a kill or something.
Could be very tough. Already at level 4 on the top side of the map with even CS. Brandini's going to go for a little bit of harass, but he's just really giving Fallen Bandit what for so he can build up a wave here and they can possibly get something going under the turret later. It's a nice, easy, quiet play here in the early game, but CLG made sure they got in and out without losing too many resources. Down towards the bot side of his jungle, looks like Wiggly will get his final bit of clear in here and then have it back.
Yep. So overall, CLG happy with, I think, a slower start to the game. What's interesting is a lot of people feel like Blue Side's win rate in NA being so high is a result of their lack of hard counterpicking. And I feel like that's kind of going on again here where plenty of people are opting into this Mundo versus Cho'Gath matchup. Two super hard scaling frontliners, one a little bit more damage oriented, one and a little bit more mobile, and Cho'Gath having better CC and hard setup for his team. And so it's interesting that they don't really have significantly winning lanes, and it means that Blue Side's able to get the power picks that they want, so they're able to get the Xayah Rakan. And that does result a lot of the time in the higher Blue Side win rate that we see. It feels like, compared to a region like LPL, where the Red Side win rate's actually a lot closer to even because they'll take some of the weirder counter matchups.
Absolutely. Here you're kind of okay with it and then hope you provide like more in your cleavers. You hit them all because it becomes conditional for both champions once you get to that late game. Are you hitting cleavers? Are you hitting your silences and your ruptures? In that sense, you're like, hey, we can play against each other in lane and get to that point and see.
Yeah, I would definitely rather play the Mundo side.
For sure. Yeah,
I don't have the mechanics. I press W, I press R, I run at you. If I miss a cleaver, it's back up in a second.
CC, I'll break that. Keep going.
Yep. So I do respect the Cho'Gath players, especially when there's not much else set up on the team, but they do have the Rakan to help as well. It can be a bit of a nightmare playing Cho'Gath and people just expecting you to land ruptures on unhindered targets. But now he has someone to go in first, and he can focus more on follow-up.
Yeah, it's definitely that risk reward. I feel like you miss a cleaver. Ooh, shockwave onto Linsanity. Could flash out of this one as he holds it just for a moment. And end of the line does not pop fast enough with the red buff on. He stays alive.
Yeah, and the phase rush proc coming in to make sure that he could skedaddle on out of there. It felt like Wiggly thought he would get the flash follow-up, but was a little too slow to get another auto attack off. Also not 6 himself, but flash trade between the jungler and the mid laner. Still a nice play by CLG. Working around that level 6 of the Orianna, able to set that play up.
It was really quick to deny a little bit of pressure in mid. This means Wiggly once again can deny a few Raptors. Not the biggest amount. Still a big one going over to Levi as he gets his tendies. And now tending to mid lane will clear up that wave. Linsanity comes back, but Flash is down for him. And Tuesday has that cleanse for a pretty hard play if he wants it.
Yeah, it does feel like Tuesday getting that flash advantage will allow him to be more aggressive in the lane. And Levi doing a good job for the most part recovering from the initial setback. Did get that second Scuttle Crab spawn. Now working down a very important objective in a game where you have the same team comps, like we're saying, in both their win conditions are basically 5v5s. Yes, 100 Thieves has the rise. He's a little bit better at splitting, but probably going to come down to 5v5s. Grabbing an Infernal Drake for yourself is absolutely huge.
Very nice. Looks like next might be Infernal as well if that doesn't change. So even more damage to come through. And like you said, that mark starts Levi off. So he can start targeting a few more things with that extra damage. 3 more. He buffs up that 75 range for his abilities and autos. All the wards coming up on cooldown now for most of the teams as they head back out. This looks like farming for now on every front. No real leads. There was a lead for Auto and Phil on the bot side, but Rikara and Stunt picked that up under the turret and they've cleaned up most of it.
Yeah, kind of the case with these back timers. Rikara able to get there, get his tier, so he's pretty happy. Obviously, tons of sustain with Ezreal going the Kleptomancy. You pick up a lot of different biscuits. You probably take biscuits yourself.
All day.
And you just sit in lane and free farm it up. So
Money bags. Giving him about 150 more gold, 130. Just able to cash in.
I'm going to be curious to see what 100 Thieves does from here, because I was saying that I expect Linsanity when he hits 6 to start roaming around the map, but now without his flash, it does feel like he's a little bit on the back foot. See if CLG can take advantage of that at all. They haven't really looked back to the mid lane ever since they got it, and it's halfway back up now.
Seems like they've said it's all right for Levi after that early game to kind of not do anything, or he kind of said, hey, I'm just going to go around, farm my camps, hasn't really been in the face of Wiggly too much. And it seems like Wiggly just had his number. So still waiting for Levi to activate. Could be here on the bot side as Stunt fights over his front-placed pink ward. Usually really hard to deny, or I'm sorry, secure that ward if you're on the red side, so we might see a fight over it here in a second.
Yeah, good job by 100 Thieves contesting the vision in the bot side river. Sometimes Ezreal and Braum can feel a little too passive, where they're, like I said, more than happy to get pushed in a lot of the time, but sometimes that results in you losing complete control of your bot lane and bot half of the map, but they did a good job grabbing the dragon, now getting some vision control. Wiggly postures up to the top side. CLG knows this, 100 Thieves know this, and both laners are backing up away from the junglers.
They deny this wave. Doesn't look like they're trying to let him get too much. Insanity and Tuesday may go head-to-head as his flash is just about to come up. A nice dissonance could prep that kill. And advantage for Tuesday as we head back to the top side. Fallen Bandit low. It might make Brandini feel good about a small engage, and 100 Thieves is making quick work of the bot turret. Great hold by Brandini on the top side as well, and pressure gained very much so by 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it would have been tough for CLG to match that push no matter what, because it's, at the end of the day, a 3v2 versus a 2v1, so you have the extra man hitting. But with Fallen Bandit tanking, it looked like 3 turret shots there, trying to harass Brandini back, really hurt their ability to trade up on the turret. It means Fallen Bandit actually has to go back to base and recall, so it's going to be a free turret for 100 Thieves there, working around that bot lane pressure.
See, oh, he will miss a few. He's going to hold recall, though, so good on that he might be able to teleport into a play. Always nice to be able to make it. Yeah, cannon. Eat it. Yep. Or don't eat it, just hit it. It's fine.
Cannon Wave's always the best back on since they tank so many turret shots.
No! Chew it! Eat it!
The struggle.
Just eat it. It's cooldown on minions.
He's going to continue the struggle as they have the bot lane rotating up to the top side now. Stunt and Levi working together to secure vision control up here.
Good play there. A lot of in-pings from Wiggly. They said possibly wanting this, but they said, hey, Scuttle control. Maybe once they flex around, we can actually just get the Rift Herald all together as Levi goes ahead. Places a ward for the team to have vision in that area as well.
Yeah, that was actually a Scuttle Crab that ended up getting marked by Kindred's bounty. Didn't complete the hunt on it though because Wiggly took it away, but Steve still playing around all together. The bot lanes match up in the top side now. Levi is trying to work down the Scuttle Crab, but like we said, both top lanes with TP. This could turn into a 5v5.
Looks like with that switch, Fallen Bandit's obviously down towards the bottom now, but this back and forth and jockeying for position. Levi is forced to hop over the wall, and that leaves a 300 HP Rift Herald to be fought over now. Last hits from CLG could get that Eye of the Herald for themselves. Here's the pickup. Rakan goes in, and it's going to be quickly Levi going down. Brandini and Insanity in the middle of the frying pan, but they're able to turn it around with 3 on the back line. Auto, Fallen Bandit, and Tuesday, however, have different things in mind as they find the priority targets and are now on to Stunt. Up in the airborne goes Ricard. There's that silence you're not so used to playing against. And Ricard is finally using that arcane shift to get away. Stunt just out of reach. No, he gets hit by the rupture, but no follow-up from the rest of Counter Logic Gaming as a big fight for CLG comes through a Rift Herald.
Yeah, we saw it was going to be a 5v5. Brandini with the long lane. The bot side had time to walk up there, so he was able to hold his TP. But the fight was extremely split, and a great engage by Phil is really what's going to allow them to win this. Levi wants to get back onto the Scuttle Crab to contest it, but the fact that they're able to engage onto him and kill him before he's able to drop that Lamb's Respite makes this is an extremely easy fight to win from here. A nice ultimate by Tuesday as well stops Insanity's ultimate from completing and teleporting him out of the fight. And with that, of course, on the front side, you had Wiggly going down, you had Phil going down, but it put CLG in a position to get the final cleanup kill, winning it 3 for 2, as well as securing the Rift Herald for themselves.
I think 100 Thieves kind of skirted them into a position where they weren't so sure about it, but they still wanted it. And as soon as Levi was left in the pit alone, CLG said, thank you very much. Quick play there and Rift Herald to be used.
Definitely came down to execution there. I mean, if you have that Lamb's Respite go off and Levi gets to sit there and pump out damage at low HP to people, it could easily go in 100 Thieves' favor. Everyone committed 5v5 to that objective, and CLG just played it cleaner.
Stormrazor now for Auto. Feels pretty good to get that first chunk out if they do approach a fight. So it is Mountain that comes up next, and CLG is able to trade back onto this one. So a Mountain versus an Infernal now, just about 14 minutes into the game. It's 3-2 with CLG looking to drop a turret on the side of 100 Thieves.
Yep, you see them.
It looks like that'll happen now.
One.
Oh, wow. Lamb's spike goes down immediately. Quick fingers by Levi, but do they fumble the rest of the play? 200 HP between Linsanity and Levi. Stun almost going down as Rift Herald drops mid. No one can get forward far enough to find what is a combined 500 HP between 3 members of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. The fact that so many people are so low means they can't stop this Rift Herald for continuing this push. They're actually going to be able to grab 2 turrets off the back of this.
That's a huge point. Rift Herald may also get one more shot. They don't want to overstay their welcome, though, as Brandini comes to the party with his ukulele. He's going to play everybody out of this one.
Yeah.
Quick moves there.
Really clean by CLG, starting things off with the Shockwave, a lot more telegraphed of a move than the Recon Engage, but it still gets the ultimate out of Levi instantly, and so they can't pop him, but they drop him very low, make sure that they can't get traded back on, and 100 Thieves still has to go a little bit saving Private Ryan to make sure they can get him out of there, and while no one else dies, they do get dropped very low, and CLG, once again, the superior teamwork team that we were kind of building them up in this series as, able to continue to make the good plays.
Yeah, especially when it's on their terms. And I think first pick Recon allows you to do that almost 110% of the time. You know, it's almost better than an Ash Arrow because you're getting more than one target and you have an escape. So somebody's in there if you already want them. It's crazy. And Phil continues to initiate. That's twice now that he's been able to let CLG get on top.
And it's a pick that's often banned away for that reason.
It really is.
Arguably the best engage in the game right now, and you give that up against that team, like you said, it allows them to pull the trigger whenever they want, and both times they've done it has been very, very successful thus far.
Fallen Bandit now pretty big. Abyssal Mask onto him, along with more tenacity. Just keep breaking all of this magic damage. Where does 100 Thieves want to go on this one? Bottom side controls. Looks like they're putting up a security of vision here just so they can get Brandini a little bit safer in his split.
And not bad by 100 Thieves, still having some pressure down around the bot side of the map. Mundo being able to push in and using the fact that the bot laners are now in the mid lane to get some control on the bot side. But you don't want to see what's happening in the top lane with Linsanity. You're split pushing Rise with TP, kind of getting handled by the Orianna. 20 CS, 101.
It's new mid.
Yeah, it's the new mid lane, but usually this is supposed to be better for the Rise. We'll see if it works out for him here. Going to Realm Warp on top of Tuesday.
Does he have dissonance? Just use it? Oh,
nope, just give it the minions.
Go back in and say, let's go for this one. Blue buff versus blue buff definitely allows an Orianna to dance around. She can get around that overpowered damage of Linsanity. 3-2 still is a lot of fighting back and forth, but people are walking away with a sliver of health. The pressure being gained by CLG in those fights. 100 Thieves still very much in this.
And it feels like, for the most part, CLG playing around objectives, just looking to go farm until the next Drake is up, most likely. It'll be a second mountain for them, which will be great if they continue to kind of play around objectives, because then you're taking turrets easier, you're taking the Baron down faster whenever you decide it's time to start baiting that one. And it feels like 100 Thieves are struggling to find a play to make, other than the Rise TP in the side lane, which is honestly the play that you want to make onto the Orianna. They don't have that many other go tools. I mean, Brandini can press R and run to the Cho'Gath, but that's probably not going to be too successful. Right. And if Levi can't find an angle on someone with a gank, he's going to have a hard time making anything happen.
I think you're right. Maybe it's Levi Brandini here, and you do have Ricara's TP to come back up. Bat goes and takes out Tuesday. You have a bit of the map control on either side there. All kind of a few minutes away, though, so CLG has a lot of time to prep for this, set up their vision. 3 pink wards up the top side, kind of cresting into the river, all seamlessly protected as 100 Thieves is more focused on the bot side of the map.
You can see what's the result of that focus. The top lane turret down to about 15% HP. That's going to be the third one for CLG if they're able to grab that soon. 2 in the mid lane. Both side lanes still have all their turrets up.
So if you lose a game in a series, does that mean Riccara has lost to CLG?
I think technically yes. But if he wins 3-1, I don't think he'll be upset about it.
That's true. That's true. Right now, CLG making a very, very good statement in the first 18 minutes of the game. Wiggly's all over Levi's jungle and his marks, and now the fight's going to come through. Glacial Fissure locks up a few members of CLG, but they're able to slowly walk out of that one. full health, I might add. So the fight could continue as they look down towards Stunt.
No Braum ult.
No Braum ult. There it is. The ultimate goes in. The charm as well from the quickness on Phil. The follow-up damage from Linsanity is great from the side. Lamb's Respite goes down. 400 HP between Stunt and Rakara as the kill comes through onto Tuesday first. 100 Thieves have the upper hand now. Into the front goes Brandini, and they're trying to slow Fallen Bandit. Realm Warp forward as they lock him down now. And Cho'Gath gets himself chomped down. A great fight by 100 Thieves.
Yeah, 100 Thieves tried to find the pickoff onto CLG in the top side in the jungle. They couldn't quite get the engage, and CLG feels like they're more powerful with the ultimate advantage, but Phil flubbed the engage, ending up between two targets, not actually getting either, which allows 100 Thieves to get the cleanup re-engage, 2 for 0, and the mid lane turret, swinging this gold completely back to even.
It finally felt like one of those times Levi used Lamb's Respite. It wasn't just to prep CLG's kills, it was to actually fake them out and turn the fight in their favor. We'll see it here again.
Right, so watch Phil. He wants to go in knowing Stunt has no ultimate available, but he goes for the flash W and ends up over the top of Stunt and not actually knocking him up. Also misses the other ones. And then Levi, once again, the reaction ultimate to the Orianna ult was huge. And this time around, because everyone else is in position to keep fighting, and it's not just Levi standing there and waiting to die, so to speak, they're actually able to turn this one and continue fighting. Linsanity, the Realm Warp, transporting the members back on top of Fallen Bandit as well. Really, really well played by Levi. His ultimates are... He can clearly react to the Orianna ult. That's not going to surprise him anymore. Maybe the side of CLG wants to start holding that a little bit later and try and punish the ultimate as it ends, as opposed to punish him as he still has it up.
And Mark, the fuse is still lit. They come right back from the batting order and head straight to Baron for 20 minutes. It just spawned and they won it. 100 Thieves ults coming back up.
No Brandini.
Fight over onto Phil, and Levi has one last hit. Lamb's Respite is not up, and they're going to be able to take down Fallen Bandit first. That's the front line, and Otto gets chunked down huge. Rakara forward a little too far. It loses just about the same amount of HP. Realm Warp in. Oh, they leave Brandini to be the front line. What a restart to the fight as Rakara picks up the kill onto Phil, and now it's going to be Brandini under the turret, Linsanity on the tank, and 100 Thieves is full pedal to the metal.
4-4-0 there on the side of 100 Thieves. Levi barely able to kite that one out. He stays alive. CLG go in to try and finish him out, which then allows Brandini to have the time to collapse up into the top side. And the Rise ultimate being a Mundo gap closer effectively. Sets the team up for the kills, and now they're going to be able to grab the Baron on that. We talked about how CLG was making the better plays around the objectives in the early game. The mid game is all about the fact that 100 Thieves is out team fighting them mechanically.
One of the things I was going to say coming in is, are we going to see Realm Warps that are used in an advantage? Not just kind of, hey, we're going to move here. These are awesome as they're used in the middle of the fight for even others, and we'll see again all the way through.
Yep, and they try and get the one-shot onto Levi again. Still doesn't have ultimate available, I'm pretty sure, so that was just the fact they couldn't get that last little bit of damage in to finish him off. Fallen Bandit low from the Baron, and a power-spiking Rakara able to drop a lot of damage with his Q spam. And then here comes Brandini, finally makes his way up to the top side, and there's the Rise gap-closing ultimate to put him on the front line, which is something that sometimes Mundo can struggle with. Here, able to kind of chase down, tank the turret up with Linsanity to make sure they get those last 2 kills. Just a very well-coordinated fight by 100 Thieves.
And that's kind of what the notes said coming into the game, right? We see CLG, they felt good, even starting their own initiations, and we said it as well. But when it comes down to the fight mechanics, we saw the first fight, Stunt didn't even have Glacial Fissure, and they pulled it back into their favor. Bring it back to the same spot for rinse and repeat. 100 Thieves come up on top again. Now they grab Mountain Drake 22.5 minutes in, and feeling pretty strong around the map as they can really start to flex this split push.
Yeah, and I just got to look at that attempt by CLG. You know, the Brandini shows in the bot lane is Mundo with no TP, but it was basically right at 21 minutes, and you are not really power spiking with your build at that point. I would take a 2-item Ezreal over the 2-item Xayah at that point. And so I think it was just a little over-ambitious when they decided to go for that. They could have gone for a slower game plan. I do like the idea that they were looking more to turn off. I think they had the right mindset, but it's just for how much damage Fallen Bandit took before they actually found the turn, it was very difficult to execute on.
Let's see what is executed next. Top lane goes down in favor of 100 Thieves. Brandini helps to push that down as Linsanity's in the bot. The 1-3-1 is in action for 100 Thieves with now a 5,000 gold lead as they start to push that up just a little bit more. It doesn't look like they're going anywhere with Baron buff for another minute and a half Mid lane has those three. Levi, Stunt, and Rikara are pushing hard.
Yep, you see Rikara working down on that turret. That's the second inner turret dropping.
My word.
There's that Ezreal Q spike damage at 2 items before people have armor and stuff.
Wiggly almost going down just from a few shots. He's forced to go back to base, which means it's kind of like that. Capture the flag. You get tagged, you're out for a moment, and that's when the other team can make the most ground up. The moments you are out of your base for this time, they can make up so much ground. We see all the damage on the front side turrets getting in now from 100 Thieves.
Uh-oh.
And it looks like they'll be able to take down mid, even if Brandini goes down. How fast can CLG react? Oh my God, he lives!
Brandini getting out just
squeezing tight.
Just fine. And like you said, during that time, 100 Thieves dropped the mid lane inhibitor turret. Get the inhibitor themselves down to about half HP. And this is exactly when 100 Thieves comp is at its best. They have so much slipperiness and tankiness and mobility to avoid getting engaged on. They don't have the best engage tools themselves, but how do you force a Mundo off a siege? How do you stop an Ezreal from being able to do it? A Ryze, all three of them having great defensive tools when you try and pick them off.
They just got that Mountain Drake too, so it means they can go through these objectives even harder. 10 seconds left on the Baron buff, used all the way to the last drop. It looks like they'll back out at 25 minutes on the clock. Nicely done, taking the resources on the way out, and look how far they pushed up their vision as well. Whatever CLG does, 100 Thieves will have an idea of what to do next.
Yeah, and the Levi bounty hunt tracker up to 6 now.
Cool, got it.
Able to get a lot of the kills, or excuse me, 2 of the assists, both of those getting his bounties as well, as the amount of skirmishing that's happened on the side of CLG's map now is leading to a very, very strong Kindred out of nowhere.
As long as he doesn't die more, right? Isn't that the stat? If he doesn't die.
Oh, so there's 2 Levi stats. One is that in wins, he has a KDA, 6 of the 10 wins, he has a KDA of 10.
That sounds Levi.
Or over 10.
That sounds pretty Levi.
That's the Levi hard carry games. 40% of the times he's not doing the hard carry, but they never win when he dies 3 times or more. So
they're on track then.
Right, so this is not a Levi hard carry game, but it's not a Levi died too much, we can't win game.
Good thing he's on Kindred. There will be many more deaths.
And the fact that 40% of those wins are not, you know, the Levi pop-off game speaks to the other talent on 100 Thieves side.
Yeah.
We've seen Linsanity have great Ryze ultimates, lost his flash early on with the gank, and has largely been fine. Rikara as well, as soon as he hit his 2-item power spike where Ezreal's at their best, able to take these team fights very well.
So does that mean 3 deaths is inting for Levi? That's crazy.
I don't know.
The pressure of a pro player.
I don't think it's inting.
It looks like they're not doing any of that this game as they make their way into the base. 8-3. They may not even need more kills to do this. They're doing very well at working around the players, but now they're going to go through Tuesday all the way to Wednesday. But it's Friday, so I guess we'll go all the way to Friday. As they take down the inhibitor, it's going to get a little bit of a rebuttal here. A hit and a quickness from Phil, but it just looks like Brandini says, thank you, I'll have another, sir. Fallen Bandit, the tankiest one, going down first, and Rikara's going to make sure that happens. Phil and Wiggly have to wander their way onto the fountain, and it's going to be Nexus Turrets going down for game 1 in favor of 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves with a very convincing game 1 win. They fell behind in the early game off some good plays by CLG, but answered back instantly with a very strong mid-game fighting team comp.
Yeah, they turned that on. It seemed like the quickness and the engage from from Phil was just going to be too much over and over again. But the composition now of Rikara and a few being on that back line meant they weren't always in the quickness. The engages didn't get everybody to CLG won.
Yeah, showed that they're definitely awake and ready to go for the series. If the enemy team makes a mistake, they're going to be there to punish it. And like you said, that one bad engage by Phil where he just kind of overshot them was the foothold that they needed back into the game, and they never had to look behind them after that.
And the few of the first fights were crazy. If we jump into the replays, the one at Rift Herald where we saw Stunt use his ultimate, and you're like, oh, they probably don't want to go back into this. And they did, happily.
Yeah, and this is exactly where you see what they want to do every time, blow up the Kindred before he can get the ult off. Phil trades his life to do that, which is absolutely worth it, and then Tuesday's able to come in and help clean up Linsanity, who was trying to ult out of there, and Brandini was going to get chased down, going to get finished off here. And it's a 3-for-2 plus a Rift Herald for CLG, who then converted that into a mid lane push for 2 more turrets, and you could see CLG, this great communication team, doing a good job engaging onto Levi, killing him before he can ult, and then using their objective play to snowball. And it felt like this was looking like a very clean lead for CLG.
And then CLG continue to try and hit with Phil, go a little bit deeper. We have 19 minutes in at 2-0 at Top River for 100 Thieves, rather. And Phil goes by, but he doesn't have that back line. There's Riccara, there's Linsanity, not in that hit.
And Levi was on top of his ultimates. As long as he wasn't getting 100% killed during the CC, he always got it off before the Orianna ult came through. And that was a big part of why they're able to win a couple of these skirmishes here. And this is a beginning of the end a little bit for CLG, where these 2 kills kind of got them back in the game for the side of 100 Thieves. You know, they were clearly ready to punish those mistakes, like we were saying, because Phil just missed his W, was a little bit too far forward, and they couldn't get the easy kill on the frontliner because he wasn't locked up.
And we saw that final play here at 20 minutes, 30 seconds in. You replay the Baron. Let's do the Realm Warp again. And it was all the movement from Linsanity and Brandini.
Yeah, some very questionable shot calling by CLG, trying to force that just because the tank wasn't there 20 minutes into the game. You don't quite have the damage to really threaten. Their turnoff wasn't super clean again. And as a result, by the time Brandini gets there, after running from the bot lane, they still have the Rise Realm Warp, put him on top, get those 2 extra kills. They grab the Baron, and boom, look how fast that game ended. Literally, from 21 minutes to about 27 minutes, the game ended.
That is a crazy roller coaster ride to actually look at as well. And you can see kind of when 100 Thieves said, all right, they're going to try and just blast these fights. It's not very like Counter Logic Gaming, but they have Rakan. We know what to do. And that's when Levi, like you said, kept hitting that button. Lamb's Respite really turned these fights around along with everybody on the team.
It was really surprising because we were talking about the red side not making the most out of their counter picks. And then when CLG had the good start with their first couple fights and skirmishes, getting them pretty big leads, I was thinking, well, you know, this is looking pretty scary. Maybe the side of 100 Thieves has to start thinking about trying to go for more aggressive counter picks and more early game focus. But they actually did a great job in the mid game, and it now puts the pressure on CLG to try and figure out what they want to do.
Absolutely. Do you think it's smart? Well, it's always smart. But do you think Wiggly is a focus to go in here with coming out into game 1? He feel like he had everything in his in his wheelhouse. Do you hit that guy first, or do you still play your game as 100 Thieves? You say, we won, just roll it back.
This is one of those games where I think both teams are kind of going to look at it and say, we made some good and bad decisions, each team, and I don't think you need to necessarily look at the draft as the primary place for the adaptations to occur. Probably don't force Baron buff down at 20 minutes. That's just always a very risky play to go for that has a high tendency to backfire, the early Baron. So I think there's some stuff CLG can look up to clean up here beyond the comp, because I really like their comp and everything they did with it. Even though we talked about the Gragas versus the Kindred to get more of a team fight counter pick, it didn't feel like that was the big deal.
Well, the first game of this series goes the way of 100 Thieves, but there is more Academy action coming up. See if CLG Academy can bounce back in game 2.